prose introduction to Grímnismál gives an unexpected account of Odin and Frigg as rival patrons to two kingly candidates, the lost sons of King Hraudung. Odin uses cunning to give his foster son an unfair advantage, and then precipitates a matrimonial quarrel by pointing out the different fates which have overtaken their protégés. Frigg is swift to get her own back, accusing Odin's favorite of stinginess, a serious charge, given the near sacred character which Germanic society ascribes to hospitality. Frigg duplicitously ensures that Geirröðr does mistreat his guests, relying on Odin's practice of disguising himself when visiting strange halls. Odin arrives at Geirröðr's hall, calling himself Grimnir, the Masked One. Geirröðr's methods of torture, starvation, and heat have been thought to recall shamanistic rituals, allowing access to arcane knowledge kept hidden from the uninitiated. Such practices could have been known to the Scandinavians from their northern neighbors, the Lapps. On the ninth night, 9 is a magical number, Odin reveals himself. Geirröðr realizes his mistake too late, as eventually happens to most Odinic protégés. The hero has lost his patron's favor and is doomed to die. Geirröðr's son, Agnar, who significantly bears his uncle's name, and is now the same age as his uncle was when the brothers encountered their divine protectors, has recognized the responsibilities of the host in giving Odin a drink, and the god's favor now falls on him. Like Vafthrudnismál, Grímnismál is obsessed with mythological facts. The topography of the world of the gods, rather than its history, is revealed in Odin's monologue. Stimulated by heat and hunger, Odin gradually reveals his divinity, first through demonstrating his mastery of arcane knowledge, wide-ranging and compendious, thematically arranged to allude to his physical torment and the judgment and revenge which will result from it. Finally, after the crucial verse 45, in which Odin asserts the right relations of sacrifice and patronage have been restored between gods and men by Agnar's action, he identifies himself in all his guises. Like the Havarmál, Grímnismál intends both to reveal mythological knowledge and to teach wisdom, a wisdom which comes too late for Geirröðr, but which qualifies Agnar to become king in his father's place. The acquisition of all sorts of wisdom, runic, magical, gnomic, and mythological, as evidenced by the poems recounting Sigurd's youth, is necessary for the hero to achieve transition from fighter to ruler. In its context in the Poetic Edda, Grímnismál both completes the exposition of Odinic wisdom and looks forward to the exploration of kingship which develops in the heroic poems. And so the story begins. About the sons of King Hraudung. King Hraudung had 2 sons. One was called Agnar and the other Geirröðr. Agnar was 10 years old and Geirröðr 8. They both rowed out in a boat with rods and trailing lines to catch small fish. The wind drove them out into the ocean. In the dark that night they made landfall and went ashore. They found a crafter. They stayed there for the winter. The old woman fostered Agnar, and the old man, Geirröðr. In the spring, the old man got them a ship, and when he and the old woman took them down to the shore, then the old man spoke privately to Geirröðr. They got a breeze, and came to their father's harbor. Geirröðr was forward in the ship. He jumped ashore, and pushed the ship out and said, "Go, where the evil one may take you." The ship was driven out, and Geirröðr went up to the house. He was greeted joyfully. His father had died. Then Geirröðr was taken as king and became a splendid man. Odin and Frigg sat in Hlidskjalf and looked into all the worlds. Odin said, "Do you see Agnar, your foster son? They are raising children with a giantess in a cave. But Geirröðr, my foster son, is king and rules over the land." Frigg says, "He is so stingy with food that he tortures his guests if it seems to him that too many have come." Odin says that is the greatest lie they wagered on the matter. Frigg sent her headmaiden, Fula, to Geirröðr. She told the king to beware lest a wizard, who had come into the country, should bewitch him, and said he could be known by this sign, that no dog was so fierce that it would leap on him. And that was the greatest slander that Geirröðr was not generous with food. However, he had been man arrested whom no dog would attack. He was wearing a blue cloak and called himself Grimnir, and would say nothing more about himself, though he was asked. The king had him tortured to make him speak, and set him between two fires, and he sat there 8 nights. Geirröðr the king had a son who was 10 years old, and he was called Agnar, after Geirröðr's brother. Agnar went to Grimnir and gave him a full horn to drink from, saying the king was acting wrongly to have him, an innocent man, tortured. Grimnir drank it up. Then the fire had come so close that Grimnir's cloak burned. He said, "Hot art thou, fire, too fierce by far. Get ye now gone, ye flames. The mantle is burnt, though I bear it aloft, and the fire scorches the fur. Twixt the fires now 8 nights have I sat, and no man brought meat to me, save Agnar alone, and alone shall rule Geirröðr's son o'er the Goths. Hail to thee, Agnar, for hailed thou art by the voice of Vertir. For a single drink shalt thou never receive a greater gift as a reward. The land is holy, that lies hard by the gods and the elves together, and Thor shall ever in through time dwell, to the gods to destruction go. Idollir call they the place where Ul a hall for himself hath set, and Alfheim the gods to Freyr once gave as a tooth gift in ancient times. A third home is there, with silver thatched by the hands of the gracious gods. Valaskjof is it, in days of old set by a god for himself. Sogfabik is the fourth, where cool waves flow, and amid their murmur it stands. There daily do Odin and Saga drink, in gladness from cups of gold. The fifth is Glastheim, and gold bright there stand Valhall stretching wide, and there does Odin each day choose the men who have fallen in fight. Easy it is to know for him who to Odin comes and beholds the hall. Its rafters are spears, with shields is it roofed, on its benches or breastplates are strewn. Easy it is to know for him who to Odin comes and beholds the hall. There hangs a wolf by the western door, and o'er it an eagle hovers. The sixth is Thraimheim, where Thiassi dwelt, the giant of marvelous might. Naskati abides, the god's fair bride, in the home that her father had. The seventh is Bretablik, Baldur has there for himself a dwelling set. In the land I know that lies so fair, and from evil fate is free. Himinbjörg is the eighth, and Heimdall there, o'er men hold sway is it said. In his well-built house does the warder of heaven the good mead gladly drink. The ninth is Folkvang, where Freya decries, who shall have seats in the hall. The half of the dead each day does she choose, and half does Odin have. The 10th is Grímnir, its pillars are gold, and its roof with silver is set. There most of his days does Forseti dwell, and sets all strife at end. The 11th is Notun, there has Njord for himself a dwelling set. The sinless ruler of men there sits in his temple timbered high, filled with growing trees and high standing grass, is Vithi, Vithar's land. But there did the sun from his steed leap down when his fathers fain would avenge. In Grimnir, Grímnir cooks Grímnir's exceeding flesh, the best of food, but few men know on what fare the warriors feast. Freki and Geirröðr does Geirröðr feed, the fair famed fighter of old, but on wine alone does the weapon-decked god Odin forever live. O'er Midgard, Hugin and Munin both each day set forth to fly. For Hugin I fear lest he come home not home, but for Munin my care is more. Loud rolls Thund, and Grímnir's fish joyfully fares in the flood. Hard does it seem to the host of the slain to wade the torrent wild. There Folkbuilder stands, the sacred gate, and behind are the holy doors. Old is the gate, but few there are who can tell how it tightly is locked. 500 doors and 40 there are, I ween, in Valhall's wall. 800 fighters through one door fare, when to war with the wolves they go. 500 rooms and 40 there are, I ween, in Grímnir built. Of all the homes whose roofs I beheld, my son's the greatest meseemed. Heiðrún is the goat who stands by her father's hall, and the branches of Larrington she bites. The pitcher she fills with the fair clear mead, ne'er fails the foaming drink. Grímnir is the hart who stands by her father's hall, and the branches of Larrington he bites. From his horns a stream into Hvergelmir's drops, thence all the rivers run. Sith and Vith, Sekin and Akin, Svol and Fimbulthul, Guntro and Fjorm, Rin and Rinandi, Gippel and Gopal, Gomo and Girvimor, that flow through the fields of the gods. Thin and Vin, Thol and Hol, Groth and Guntorin. Vino is one, Vegsvin another, and Thjothun Muma a third. Nit and Not, Non and Hron, Slith and Rith, Sirlig and Vilg, Vith and Von, Vond and Strand, Gjor and Lept, that go among men, and hence they fall to hell. Cornt and Hornt, and the Kerlings twain, shall door each day wade through. When doomed to give, he shall go forth to the Astri Yggdrasil. For heaven's bridge burns all in flame, and the sacred waters seethe. Gleth and Gillir, Glare and Skeithbrimir, Silfrin Top and Sinir, Gizel and Farhofnir, Gotop and Letfeti, on these steeds the gods shall go. When dooms to give, each day they ride to the Astri Yggdrasil. 3 routes there are, that 3 ways run, neath the Astri Yggdrasil. Neath the first lives hell, neath the second the frost giants, neath the last are the lands of men. Ratatosk is the squirrel, who there shall run on the Astri Yggdrasil. From above the words of the eagle he bears, and tells them to Nithog beneath. For hearts there are, that the highest twigs nibble with necks bent back, Dane and Dvalin, Dunir and Dirafror. Most serpents there are, but neath the ash, than an unwise ape would think. Goin and Moin, Grafvidnir's sons, Grabak and Grafvoluth, Ofnir and Svafnir, shall ever methinks gnaw at the twigs of the tree. Yggdrasil's ash great evil suffers, far more than men do know. The heart bites its top, its trunk is rotting, and Nithog gnaws beneath. Hrist and Mist bring the horn at my will, Skegjold and Skogl, Hild and Truf, Rock and Herfjotr, Gol and Gerono, Rangrith and Rathgriff. And Regan leif beer to the warriors bring. Alvak and Arisvith up shall drag weary the weight of the sun. But in iron cool have the kindly gods of yore yet under their yokes. In front of the sun does Valen stand, the shield for the shining god. Mountains and sea would be set in flames if it fell from before the sun. Skoll is the wolf that to ironwood follows, the glittering god. And the son of Hrothvitnir, Heiti, awaits the burning bride of heaven. Out of Ymir's flesh was fashioned the earth, and the ocean out of his blood. Of his bones the hills, of his hair the trees, of his skull the heavens high. Midgard the gods from his eyebrows made, and set for the sons of men. And out of his brains the baleful clouds they made to move on high. His the favour of Ur, and of all the gods who first in the flames will reach, for the house could be seen by the sons of the gods if the kettle aside were cast. In days of old did Ivaldi's sons Skithblatnir fashion fair, the best of the ships for the bright god Freyr, the noble son of Njord. The best of trees must Yggdrasil be, Skithblatnir best of boats. Of all the gods in Odin's the greatest, and Sleipnir the best of steeds. Bifrost of bridges, Bragi of skalds, Hobrook of hawks, and Garm of hounds. To the race of the gods my face have I raised, and wished for aid have I waked. For to all the gods have the message gone, that sit in Aegir's seats, that drink within Aegir's doors. Grim is my name, Gengleri am I, Heron and Hjalberi, Thek and Thrithi, Thuth and Uth, Herblindi and Hor, Sath and Svipol and Sengetol, Hert and Hnaker, Berlig and Bergig, Bovak and Fionir, Grim and Grimnir, Glapsvith and Fjosvith, Sithot, Sithskeg, Sigvather, Hinkuth, Alfather, Varfather, Atrith, Famtir. A single name have I never had, since first among men I fared. Grimnir they call me in Geirröðr's hall, with Asmith York am I. Kjalar I was when I went to in a sled. At the council Thror am I called. As Vithor I fared to the fights. Oski, Biflindi, Yathanor, Almi, Gondlir and Hrabath misgods. I deceived the giants Sokmimir old, as Vithor and Svithrir of yore. Of Mithvinir's sons the slayer I was, when famed one found his doom. Drunk art thou, Geirröðr, too much didst thou drink, much hast thou lost, for help no more. From me and my heroes thou hast. Small heed didst thou take to all that I told, and false were the words of thy friends. For now the sword of my friend I see, that waits all wet with blood. Thy sword-pierced body shall Ig have soon, for thy life is ended at last. The maids are hostile, now Odin behold. Now come to me, if thou canst. For am I Odin? Ig once I was. That did they call me Thund. Vak and Skilfing, Vofoth and Raptatir, Gaut and Yalk missed the gods. Ofnir and Svafnir, and all methinks are names but none for me. Afterward, King Geirröðr sat and had his sword on his knee, half drawn from its sheath. But when he heard that Odin was come thither, then he rose up and sought to take Odin from the fire. The sword slipped from his hand and fell with the hilt down. The king stumbled and fell forward, and the sword pierced him through and slew him. Then Odin vanished, but Agnar long ruled there as king.